In a bold move towards self-reliance and economic growth, local production of defense and security equipment is being positioned as a game changer. A beautiful day to you, a citizen dialogue on First Next News, and I remain your amazing host, Kasitoni. In the Southeast, APC youth leader criticized the appointment of Obinna Inyejoha to the Nigerian Revenue Service, saying it reward opposition ties while sidelining loyal party members. In Gombe State, deadly bandit attacks left 6 dead and 20 abducted. Lawmakers are calling for stronger security, better intelligence and military patrols to protect community. While in Lagos, residents protested forced demolition, but police used tear gas. Marchers from Makoko to Okobaba demanded compensation and relocation, chanting, "A mega city cannot be built on the bones and blood of the innocent." On the federal front, the government plans to end importation of defense and security equipment in the next 2 to 5 years, aiming to produce everything locally, an ambitious push to strengthen security and boost local industry. Across politics, security, and urban development, one question emerges: are these decisions truly serving the people or just the corridors of power? To help us make sense of these developments, we are joined by our very own political analyst, Kings Ojalo. Please stay with us. Hello, Kings.
Hello, Cassie.
You look exceptionally different.
As usual, and as always.
As
Thank
usual,
you so much.
right? Okay, so considering all the things that have been happening, the trending topic,
Yes.
the youth accusing the current government of rewarding individuals connected to the opposition while sidelining party members who faces threat, hostility, and exclusion from politics. During 2023 general elections campaign, this, actually says a whole lot of things.
Yeah.
Where the youth are actually complaining, the appointment of Obinna Inyejoha as chairman
Of that is Nigeria Revenue Service.
yes, of chairman of
NRS.
the revenue. So now I want to ask, is it fair for government to reward opposition party member whilst aligning their very own individual, like their very
their
own
political
loyal?
party.
Yes.
You see, most of the time when we discuss a thing like this, we should first of all recognize the actual purpose of democracy. You understand? Democracy shouldn't be outlined for just one particular party system. You understand?
Okay.
I think the youth chairman and other youth candidates who are coming out to protest to the federal government are doing it out of selfish and angorious
Interest.
yes. You see, I think when a leading serving president tends to appoint anybody,
Okay.
you appoint someone out of his experience and capacity on how to handle crucial positions.
Okay,
You
yeah.
understand? Now, if you look at the most of the experience of Obinna Ihedioha, now he was one time the chairman of the Nigeria Sovereignty Investments Authority, that is the NSIA. He also came into the infrastructure advisory of the United Kingdom to Nigeria infrastructure advisory and thereabouts.
Yeah.
And he was also in charge of the institutional builders consultation in Nigeria. Now, what are his educational degrees? He has had MSc in public policy and management, also political science in the University of Abuja, and executive education in admissions of a Harvard Carney School in government, that is in USA. Now, seeing someone having all this kind of experience, gone through all this kind of institution, what then do you expect? Oh, because now he's in an opposition, or because of the probably he was linked to being with the ex-governor of Anambra State, that is Peter Obi. It's uncalled for. You understand? The president is actually going for someone who is capable.
Yeah.
Now, a chairman, a youth leader in the APC is now coming out to say, oh, the president is being biased. No, I believe if he was in the ADC, he will be saying the same thing.
Okay.
So I think Nigerians should do away with this mindset of until you are in the political system of the president,
ruling
or
party.
if you are in the ruling party, the position should be given to you. How does democracy work?
Okay, so sorry to interject. We also discovered that this Obina is a brother or a relative to the former governor of Imo State.
Yes, but
so could this appointment actually come as a result of the relationship between the former governor, or?
I think this appointment is based on research, it's based on statistics, and it's based on data.
Portfolio.
You understand? We being the brother of the former governor of Imo State,
yeah,
or whatever, I don't think we should count that to be the reason why the president has appointed him. We are looking at someone who is experienced, someone who is professional. You understand? Fine, I know there are other high-profile personas who might be, interested, or who might be, also have the capacity to handle such mandates. But nevertheless, to me, the president has really done the needful. He has, it shows that, most times I don't really support the president in most, but this time I think I will have to really stand with the president in this. For the fact that he was able to nominate someone who is even in the opposition, I think the president has quite, follow democracy.
So in this context,
yes,
who deserve the recognition? This recognition in this context, is it those in the opposition party or those who fought for the party?
See, anyone deserves it as far as they are willing to serve. You understand? Because you might go to pick someone who is in the party system, that is the ruling party, but he might not have any ideas. And definitely, I think more critics will even rise up to say that, look, what the president has done is definitely barbaric. So enough with one youth leader coming out to say, oh, the president has taken the wrong step by bringing out someone who is in the opposition.
Okay, thank you so much. They also mentioned putting down a known opposition supporter in charge of managing people and handling communication at the NRS is very risky and harmful. Now, is it wise to entrust a key national agency to someone openly alleged with opposition?
I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
There's nothing wrong
with that. Yes, it's for the president to know who. You understand? Enough with familiarity. Enough with I know this person, and enough with loyalty.
Tribalism.
You understand? Now the president is not even being tribalistic here. You understand? He is from Imo State. You understand? So the president is not there. I don't see any tribalistic.
When I say enough with tribalism, it's almost like only the people from the north or those
from the west. No, I think the president has really shown his interest, in rotating administration mandate to everyone in the country. So I think the president has really done what the people expect in this scenario.
Thank you so much, King Sojalo. So moving away from that particular story, the recent violence in Gombe State with multiple deaths and adoption shows the worsening insecurity and pressing need for a more intelligent security patrols and government action to protect citizens. There was a statement by the House members that if strong measures are not taken, the security situation in the country will worsen, and they cited the number 2 of the 1999 Constitution amended. In this particular context, they cited that if they do not follow that particular constitution, what the constitution actually states about security and protecting the citizens, the situation will worsen. Now, what is the connection between security measures and the chapter 2 of that 1999 constitution?
Well, I think that constitution talked about government responsibility to promote social welfare and also security well-being of citizens. You understand? I think that is one. Those are the major constitution. Any governor or president, any first man of a republic or a state should be more concerned about. We are talking about the well-being of its citizens. Now, if you're looking at the crisis in Gombe, not just in Gombe, most especially places from the political region of northeast and north south and thereabouts. Now, if you look at the crisis that has been happening, indeed, it really needs to call the attention of the chief general in charge of armed forces. We're talking about the president himself. You understand? If you could recall me when I made mention of this, that the president have full right, full diligence, and full power to give orders, be it the chief of defense staff or the minister of defense staff, to take immediate action to tackle most of the menace happening in these sub-regions. You understand? I've said that times without number, and now you can see that even the House of Senate are also calling on,
soliciting for
that, for the president to give orders to the chief of defense staff to take immediate action, disturbing that region of the country. Now, if you look at the most incident that happened recently in we're talking about places like Gari Jagil area of Akko local government, that is in Gombe State. You understand? Where 6 people were killed and 20 adopted. And we also have, even
the situation in Ekiti State.
The kidnappers also had destroyed destroyed the properties. You understand? And these are things that have been raveling in that region of the country for a time being now. So you understand? I see. Our president need to understand what one thing. I just commended him, not quite.
Yeah.
But now we have to really throw some things back to him.
You're scolding a child, and then the other hand you want
to bring back the child. We need to speak to our president in some crucial way so that he will understand the cry. Look, all these things, all these menaces might not really be affecting us here in the south, but we should speak on behalf of people who have really been affected by most of these crises. You understand? Many of them have come out to express their grievances, even most of their leaders in that region, and even the House of Senators kicked up. And now I think the president really needs to do more. You understand? I think the president needs to, because if you look at the move of the president, he has been traveling here and there. I think he really needs to sit back in our country, sit back in the country, and find possible means, if possible, as a chief, as the chief of armed forces of the country. If possible, you need to even put on your should I call it khaki, and go to the front line of this situation.
Battlefield.
I remember when the former president of Chad, you understand, when he discovered that insurgencies were really disturbing some of the regions in Chad. I think there was a border in Chad and Borno State. The Chad has a border with Borno State, and most of these bandits, they had to escalate. They felt probably, our mission in Borno is not even enough, let us expand, not knowing that they are going to the wrong region to take their dirty, drastic action. Now, what did the president do? He came on the front line. He had to put on his common flag and went to the front line with this military and said, look, we must fight this, and it was successful. I think the president he really has to follow this and see if you understand. So enough of our president trying to travel.
Thank you so much, King
and face these tragic things happening in the country.
So we're now soliciting on the president of the Federal Republic to put on his armor,
of course,
and go to the battlefield and save Nigerians. Okay, so we'll go on a short break now. When we return, we will be discussing a very, very sad story. I want to take us straight to Lagos. There's a whole lot of things happening there that is really, really sad. Stay with us. Welcome back to the show, Citizen Dialogue, and I remain your amazing host, Kasitone and Kings Ojalo with me in the studio. It's a very sad one in Lagos State. We see a case of injustice, unfair treatment, melted on the residents of Makoko community. Remember in days back, we talked about how the Makoko residents, the people there, they're being attacked, their houses demolished, their properties, losing their lives, and so many others in the process. Now, these people are being treated like common criminals over a peaceful protest, asking for their rights, which is supposed to be met with a dialogue. But it turned out to be very different. It turned out to be that the police actually attacked them without compassion, without having human sympathy. And then I came across a post on social media that was actually on Facebook from one Olusegun. He said, look at how the government treats citizens like criminals in their own country. And then Okorafor also tweeted on X that they should allow them to protest. That this is democracy and not dictatorship. These police people actually attacked these protesters by throwing tear gas at them with the impression that they were blocking the road. A lot of things happened. So many of them were injured in the process. And a woman carrying her baby, a lactating mother, was also running. So many things happen. Now, what is happening in our country? Is it that people can no longer
come out for their rights to protest?
For their rights, exactly, peacefully? Why would the government, why would the police not allow them access into the complex?
Cassie, you see, protesting, demonstration, it's actually part of our constitution and actually the rights of citizens to carry out when it is necessary and needful. In the system, when the system is not going right in one way, there's no way in the world that protest is not being demonstrated. It's unfortunate that our security forces don't know how to carry out their due diligence. What do I mean? They don't know how to really tolerate protesters during the exercise. Now, if you look at the demonstration in Lagos, and quite well, we've known it, but we can still recall the Lekki tollgate shooting where people came out. The events that happened where they were heavily shot by alleged military, and the government came out to deny it, and even the state governor who was
the same thing happened in this particular one.
Now, see, Lagos in particularly. See, with that incident that happened in Lekki, how many years we're talking about? 5 years ago, about. I think the Lagosians should look for another. Should I call it a miss? Because you see, with that irony, with that fear, that incident that happened in Lekki, as at then, I think they should really, those most especially the unions and these protest unions and thereabout are supposed to have a way of covering means in which they protest, because it looks as if the security forces in that state don't really know how to really take charge when people come out for protest. Okay, look at the incident that happened recently. You understand? The Lagos State going about demolishing houses said that yes, he is trying to do that to protect the well-being of the people. But on what dialogue? Or what constitutional right will you have to go to people who have been living in a particular region for years? You understand? How do you want it to start that have mandated to themselves, even their generations, has been, you understand, going on for a very long time in that region? You just wake up one morning because probably there's a tax you have as a state governor. Yes, and if you make your deep research, you discover that this project or this demolition purpose are actually, that is real estate management. Sidelining with the state governor in order to make use of these spaces. You understand? Which we all know. Yes, we know Lagos is trying to grow to that standard. It's not a bad thing. But look, there are people who are dwelling in this environment. People who are not really financially, more buoyant, or you understand. Now, outside Makoko, there are so many other sub-regions. We are looking at Jakonde. We are looking at Juju-Elegba. Thereabout now is now becoming a routine. It's now a daily, as if the government is against the poor. That is what it is. Now, people are now coming out to say, look, we have the right to protest. This is our mandate to tell the state governor, look, you are doing this in an illegal way. It's more or less like a land grabbing. Then the next thing you do, probably it might not, even the commissioner of police, they were talking about the life of Jimo, said that it's not true. Whereas there are video clips of police shooting tear gas. You understand? Even some of them sustained bullets.
Yeah, eyewitness also testifying to the incident that happened. That they are the ones attacking the protesters.
Then how do you listen to the cry of? Then how do you listen to the cry of those who you rule? You understand? If they keep carrying these drastic actions on citizens, then how do you hearken to their pains, their grievances? That is why you are a sitting governor, to hear the cries, to hear the pain of these people. But nevertheless, the governor is, doing it radically, and it's unfair. So my own opinion to the state governor, you are carrying out your demolition fine. There should be compensations.
Exactly.
There should be provisions. There
And
should
that's
be
exactly
there should
what
be
the people are
accommodation.
asking for.
Exactly. There should be accommodation made down for them. Okay, we've created this space for you. Please stay there till the time when we will complete this so-called project. But now you just demolish,
make them homeless.
Now look at most of them let me use Makoko for instance. Most of them are sleeping on the canoe,
On the streets.
selling even just with that hypothetic area filled with all kind of. So it's uncalled for. Our leaders should really have consideration. You understand? They should have consideration on whatever actions they are doing and the effect it will cause in the life of the citizens.
This is really sad. This is a really sad one. Now, looking at what is happening with the federal government, they've actually come out to say they want to stop the importation of defense equipment. The Minister of Defense said local production will lead to exports and regional leadership in defense manufacturing, creating jobs, that's skilled jobs, and transfer of technical knowledge, and also conserve foreign exchange. Now, will this local production contribute to export opportunities, job creation, technical knowledge transfer, and the conservation of foreign exchange in manufacturing?
Time before now, Nigeria has highly gotten most of their weapons from countries like China, Italy, and probably from Serbia, and countries like the United States and thereabouts. The thing is, it's a good one from the Minister of Defense. We're talking about Matawale, who has really realized this and also stated it to the president himself of need for us to have our own inbuilt military gadgets done and manufactured by ourselves. This is a collective move that will really help the economy of Nigeria, adding opportunity to the system. But one thing we should know is that when we are trying to make decisions, we should also look at the mindset of the people, if it's something that they will do without having extra crime. You understand? Okay. I believe when this will be actualized.
Okay, so when you're talking about, sorry to interject, when you're talking about extra crime,
I'm heading somewhere. When this is actualized, now definitely there's bound to be more employment. You understand? From people now with that means, how are we sure if this will not turn in an illegal manner? You understand? Now when we talk about military weapons, and then we're talking about guns, we're talking about what do they call it? We're talking about RPGs, this bomb used for military, for self defense and thereabout. The only thing is that, look, if this is being accomplished, we should know the kind of people we are giving this tax to. Because look at the system of Nigeria. If you look at it very well, you discover that it's bound to we are still dealing with corruption. You understand? How are we sure there will be no sabotage in that medium where some people might want to hijack the process and start using it illegally or selling it illegally? That is one thing we should also consider. You understand? It's a good one. Nigeria has what it takes. That is one thing I know for sure. We have what it takes. Okay, look at one the couplement in Ogun State, where they usually couple military armored cars and like that. So we understand we have what it takes. We have, is it land? We have everything to be able to accomplish that vision. But my thing is that, look, with the corrupt state in the country, are we sure it's not going to be sabotaged and used against, you understand, used against ourselves?
So how would this local production contribute to exports of opportunities?
Of course, we're talking about it adding more revenue to our country. Yes, adding more revenue. Like example, South Africa. You could look at most of them. They manufacture their own weapons and they sell to other nearby countries, and they are really making profit and also using the funds to help their economy. So definitely, okay. Let me state one thing. In Serbia, now look at it. We spent up to 3.4 million trying to get weapons from countries like Serbia. Even in the US, we even pay more than that. We're talking about $4 billion. So what are we talking about? Look at the kind of money that is leaving.
So if Nigerians start producing their own,
we will have less
importation,
yes,
and more of export.
Exactly.
Okay.
So, and when you do more of export, definitely the country is gaining and adding to its revenue as a country.
All right, thank you so much, Kings Ojalo. Governance is only strong as the truth is built with the people it served. When loyalty is ignored, security is weak, or citizens are left voiceless. The cost is paid in lives, livelihood, and faith in leadership. From politics to the streets, from megacity to local communities, the real power lies in ensuring justice, inclusion, and accountability for every citizen. Thank you so much, Kings,
Thank you, Cassie.
for joining us on the show.
Thank you so much.
It's always a pleasure.
And it's my
having
pleasure
you.
always being here.
And I love the way you always appear.
Thank you so much, Cassie.
All right, so to you, our amazing viewers, we've come to the end of the show Citizen Dialogue. I remain your amazing host, Cassie Tony. Stay engaged, stay informed, and do have a lovely day.